Guys, welcome back to another cast on Artosis Cast. Thanks for tuning in. This is from the CasterMuse Star League season number 4, and this is the round of 16 in Group A. And it's actually the losers match, which is kind of surprising considering the caliber of player that we have here. In this best of 3, we're going to have up here in the top right of Eclipse. This is Soma. He is one of the best up-and-coming pro gamers. He won the ACS, which is the Africa TV Challengers Star League, which is for amateur players only. Got into ASL and now has been in the top 4 twice. He got the top 4 once and then got second place 2-0 the next season. So just an unfathomably strong Zerg player. Good at every aspect of the game, truly. This guy is a killer and it is going to be a pleasure to watch him play here. But again, surprising he's in that loser match. And of course, his opponent down here in the bottom left, it's Stork. He's one of the big 4 of all time, one of the greatest Protosses ever to have lived. He's been in pretty good shape lately, does reasonably well in ASL and the team leagues and everything. Obviously, he's not quite the level that he was back in the old days where he was one of the top 4 players of all time. But you know, that's only Flash is, so can't blame too much for him there. This guy is a father now, married and all, but keeps his skill very, very high. So this match should be absolutely awesome. Can't wait to see how it goes down. Now, Stork, this is interesting. He went for a gateway and he actually went around. And if the Overlord doesn't see the probe, if you do go around, sometimes you think that it's going to be a cannon rush. This is a popular map for cannon rushing. But he just pops in and sees, oh, okay, you know what? It's a pool first. Everything's good. He sees that it is Zerglings on the way, so we'll see how he goes about defending that now. Gonna have to keep the Zealot at home, I think. And maybe come down and make a forge to help wall that in. Okay, so the probe comes down, doesn't quite catch that drone as it's trying to make the hatchery. Out come the Lings, chasing that probe around. He wants to keep that probe alive. Kind of interesting how the Lings don't even try to go across the map. They are just going to go after this probe, and that's it. So I guess he's losing any sort of timing attack he could have had. There's going to be multiple Zealots out pretty quickly here. Now, he does catch that probe. So I guess, you know, it wasn't in vain chasing it around with those Lings. You're probably going to have to see something else sent out from Stork, who, by the way, is sending a Zealot up towards this third base. And the third base does get started. But he'll put some damage on that and force those Lings to turn around, which is kind of nice. Let's see if Soma immediately turns these Lings around. Yeah, look at that. They are coming in before I think he even sees them. Realizing what has to be going on since his Overlord sees, here's a gateway, but only one Zealot. You know there's a Zealot out on the map. So he goes up to the third base, and he's going to see the Zealot behind the minerals. That is such good placement right there. You have to actually flank it, and you get so little surface area. See, oh, he actually gets 3 Lings attacking. Oh, you can get 4 attacking here at once. Actually, not a bad clear. I thought he was going to be able to get like 3 Zerglings there, but heavily damages one, slightly damages another, and kills yet another there. So, I mean, good location for him to put those Zealots, and Soma reading what's going on very clearly. Now, 2 more Zealots coming up against 5 Lings, which already have a bit of damage on them. This is going to go very Zealot favored. These Lings don't even have a shot against this. Now, there are a few more Lings coming out. He sends the probe up, and obviously someone wants to deal with that, but has to bring his Lings to kill off these Zealots first. He's going to run down that ramp, and Stork might actually take the ramp now. Oh, he actually goes all the way down. Okay, pulls back up, and we're going to have to see some fancy micro here. That is a lot of Zerglings. You can see Stork pulling back beautifully. Oh, takes a lot of damage on this one, but another Zealot coming up to flank. The Zealots starting to clean up. Stork with that third Zealot having such a good time. Soma microing heavily to get as much damage onto this one as is possible, but still plenty of health. They're starting to regenerate their shields as well. Hit one of these Zerglings as it pops out of that egg. And now the Zealot's going to retreat behind those minerals. More Zerglings being produced with the layer on the way. In the meantime, let's take a look what Stork's doing. Oh no. Oh no. You gotta move that. Okay, just barely. Cannon range can be deceptively long, I tell you. But it looks like he hasn't been able to clear the Zealots yet. He cleared one of them, the one that was really badly hurt. But this one's left over, so he's going to go ahead and flank it again. He will be able to kill this one off. Nice micro there by Soma, making sure he can hit with all 4 Zerglings behind there. So he clears that one very, very quickly indeed. Now, a lot of Zerglings actually being produced. Speed on the way as well. This Zealot coming up and seeing what's what. There's like no drones here, okay? So you know right now as Stork that Soma's going to get very aggressive. In fact, he gets some damage on those drones, and I think he's completely aware of what's going on, but I feel like he'd want another cannon here as well. Let's see if he makes one. A lot of speedlings coming down. Soma's only on 13 drones right now, which is really important to point out. He just does not have a good economy. He needs to get some damage done. Now, the Zergling's coming up. He pops out of the wall to get some additional damage with his Zealots. The Zerglings start to surround the probes, getting pulled up here. Killing the gateway might be the quickest way in, though. Let's pull back, and I tell you what, this was a perfect defense from Stork. His Zealots definitely are damaged, so is the gateway. But that was a lot of Zerglings, and for what? Damage on Zealots, a forced second cannon, and a damaged gateway? Stork will take that every day of the week. Now, Soma is in some trouble here. He's droning up, but this really feels like he's quite far behind, honestly. He's going into the Spire, and look at Stork's strategy. Not something that I expected to see here on Eclipse. He's getting the +1 air attack, which is normal. He's getting Corsairs, which is normal, but he's adding a second Stargate. So we're going to see mass Corsair here. This will absolutely crush any Spire tech that Soma has, but there's going to be an opportunity for him to mass Hydras and maybe find a weak point in Stork's defense, because Stork is going to be so heavy on those Corsairs. But you know what? Stork, again, one of the greatest Protoss ever to have lived. So I guess we're just going to have to trust his judgment here and see what he wants to do with those Corsairs. Maybe some Corsair and Zealot pairings. You know, take those Hydra hits with the Zealots so the Corsairs can reduce the Overlord count, that type of thing. Now, Stork, moving across the map a little bit. Let's take a look at his +1 attack. Not quite done yet. Such an important attack. When that is done, Zerglings are going to die in just 2 hits to the Zealots. So super, super powerful indeed. Now, the Zealots walking across. The Zerglings just kind of dogging them here. We do have a Corsair flying out, checking what's what. There are Scourge being made. I think Stork's aware of that, so he's going to pull back the Corsair. You do not want to lose your first Corsair. Things can get really hairy at that point if you do. Now, the Zealots have turned around here as well, even though their +1 attack has finally finished. And that definitely has to do with the fact that this is part of his plan, right? He already knows that Soma doesn't have a lot of drones. So he pushes across the map with the Zealots, which forces more Zerglings to be made. Look at how many Zerglings we're actually seeing being produced from Soma. So many, because he needs them to stop the Zealot attack. But now Stork just turns around and goes home and reinforces to make it even harder. And Soma is caught in this tough balancing act of producing as many drones as he can while making sure he has enough Zerglings to actually live through any incoming Zealot attacks. Beautiful play here from Stork. Just masterfully done. Now, here comes the swarm of Zerglings surrounding, but that is a lot of Corsairs going across the map. I think Soma wasn't aware that this is, in fact, 2 Stargate Corsairs. So while he clears those Zealots, we now have 7 Corsairs flying across. That is just so many. He does end up losing one there. You got to be careful about these Scourge. Pulls back. A lot of Scourge coming in. Oh, those ones pop right there. So he does get a few, but as those die, he still has 5, a 6-1 coming up to join. And now we're going to see a lot of Overlords go down. Soma trying to defend here. Double Spore to try to have a place to keep his Overlords alive. More Scourge coming out as well. This is kind of sloppy from Stork, to be honest, but it still feels like he does have a bit of control over this game. You can see the hurt economy of Soma. 26 drones against the 42 probes. You just look at his mineral patches and you can tell this isn't healthy. This isn't enough drones for him right now. And he's supply blocked on top of it. And he has all these spores that you don't really want to make early on. His Scourge haven't done enough. Wow. Stork definitely got himself into a reasonable position this game between all of the Zealot pressure and the failed Ling attacks. Looking pretty strong. Now he has 4 gates up. He's making 4 gate speed lot with +1. The Zerglings are going to have a hard time against this, no doubt. He can also bring his Corsairs out. We'll see if he makes any more. He's actually getting Dragoon range and adding more gateways. So I think he might be done with the Corsairs. I'm a little bit surprised he's not bringing them with him, though. I guess Right now, Soma did get the +1 flyer carapace, which will really help the Scourge to actually go up and hit those Corsairs. In fact, he might have enough to actually kill all the Corsairs if Stork missteps. Now, Stork running in this third base, but this is some beautiful, beautiful building placement. Look at this. He's got the Hydralisk Den in between the two hatcheries and two Sunkens over here. You can't really attack into this with Zealots. So Stork runs out, going towards the natural now. Couple Sunks on the way. Some really good defense from Soma. We got to hand it to him on that, no doubt. Look at this placement. Very hard for him to actually get in and get that surface area, but he's targeting down the Spores. This means he wants to run in with his Corsairs and get a bunch of damage if possible. So only one Spore left over. All the Scourge coming back, realizing that that might be what's going on. The drones drilling. The Zealots still getting some good damage here. Targeting down as much as they can. The Sunks do help to finish it all off, though. Now the Scourge flying around, seeing if they can intercept Corsairs. We still just have 7. It looks like that's all he wants right now. And I mean, that's enough to make sure that your opponent basically can't go mutas. It would be interesting to see if Soma would have any intention to try to go mutas here, but no, he's getting his upgrades for Hydras. +1 ranged attack as well as that Hydralisk range. We have a couple cannons going up for Stork over at this third. So he has realized that he has a perfect opportunity here against a Zerg that has to be redroning a bit to expand himself. And when Protoss gets on even bases as Zerg, you know that that Zerg is in a lot of trouble. Stork still running around with his speed lots. He's got +1 armor there as well, too. And look at this, 0-0 on the Zerglings. So Stork's ground army, far superior. He has enough Corsairs that you can't really go into mutas. But there are a lot of Scourge, so I still want to hold on to that as like a possibility of something we could see later on. I think basically if Stork messes up and loses his Corsairs, I could see Soma try to make some Mutalisks maybe to snipe High Templars, but right now it seems impossible. All right, a bunch of probes being transferred over to this third base. Stork looking very, very strong right now. His defensive cannons absolutely everywhere. He's got observers on the way. He's already got High Templars out with Psystorm. One even at his third base. Multiple cannons, Corsairs, Zealots with 1-1 and speed. Man, Stork is just playing a magnificent game. But we see that Soma he's like droning really heavily. Look at how many drones he has. 63 drones is like a 3 base, like that. A lot of times that's like about as many workers as you'll ever see in like even a Terran versus Protoss match, right? The different matchups definitely have different amounts of workers that you like to make, and normally Zergs have less workers overall, but he has powered so heavily. He's adding more hatcheries. He's getting his lurker upgrade. Now he's going for 3 evolution chambers, just upgrading really, really heavily. And yeah, it seems like what he wants to do is hit a big macro round here now. Like, he's got all of the economy. He's got a bunch of hatches. And yeah, he wants to just make a lot of Hydra Lurker, but Stork definitely has a big army, and it looks like he wants to attack. So many Dragoons in here right now. The Sunkens going down to try to keep Soma alive, but did he make too many drones? I think the answer is going to be yes. Like, look at this. The Dragoons coming forward. This is a beautiful move from Stork. If you have a stronger army, you can kill all the buildings in front of the Sunkens, and then your Zealots can get on top of the Sunkens, and the amount of damage output between Dragoons and Zealots will slaughter Sunken colonies if they don't have additional things with them. So Stork is setting up, I think, for a killing move right here. We'll see if he can actually break through. That is a lot of Sunkens, but he runs forward. High Templars coming in for some of those storms as well. He has the Corsairs waiting, helping to defend if anything comes down. Storm's going down into that middle line. Oh my God, drone death there absolutely everywhere. Soma, he has nothing left over. A couple of lurkers come out, but that's going to be it. GG, Stork wins game number 1.